Hello, hello. It is Larissa on a Wednesday, and welcome to my Lunch and Learn, where each and every week I am here to help you explore topics to elevate your mindset, be at your best, and radically expand your life and business. And today I'm talking about habit and how working with habits intelligently can actually change your life. So, if you know what you should be doing, because you probably do, chances are you're not doing all of these things you know you should do, and you feel like you're always falling off the wagon. You might do it for a day or two, and then you stop. Would you like a way to stop falling off the wagon and perhaps look at things from a different perspective, just so you don't beat yourself up and you can move forward without guilt, with ease, joy, and flow? Okay, if that sounds appealing to you, that is what today is all about, because habits are absolutely key. They're absolutely critical to life. And this is something we've been talking about with clients all week. And in just 3 days, they've had some massive shifts. So I'm going to talk to you today about some secrets in picking the right habits, what's going to be required to stick with them so that you actually get the results you're looking for. Okay, so really profound stuff. I would love to know where you're coming in from. And if you're tuning in by replay, type in replay in the chat. And if this is your first time here, type in first time in the chat. So I do thank you, and I do appreciate you for being here. And I absolutely appreciate your presence, whether live or by replay. Now, we all, like I said, there have been times where you're working late at night, or you're just hanging out late at night, and you get the munchies. And instead of maybe reaching for a glass of water or a tea, you go and have a bag of chips, right? Raise your hand if you've ever been there, right? I feel like we've all been there a time or two. We know we shouldn't have the chips. We know we shouldn't eat too late at night. And yet we do things anyway. This is with food. We may do things with our business where we may prioritize certain tasks that aren't really that important, but that we prefer to do because some of the things we have to do are just things you don't want to do. And you set things aside even though you know you should do them. And this happens time and time again. So, what I want to show you is how you can make big, profound changes and actually stick to them. So, you don't make a habit and create a habit for a day or two. You actually start creating habits for life. And I've seen so many people do this and get wild results with their business and personal life. So, here's the thing. You've probably made lists of all these things you should do and started taking action, but you've never finished, right? Because you're working on too many things at once. And a habit, when you actually look at the definition, a habit is a settled or regular tendency or practice, especially one that's hard to give up. And if you have a list of 5, 10, 50, even 100 things to do, how easy is it going to be to automatically turn those things into habits and give up habits that you don't want for creating habits that you do want? Right? I know I always thought habit had to be hard, habit formation had to be hard, until I started working with my mentor, Bob Proctor, who taught me something called the knowing doing gap, right? There's a difference between what you know you should do and what you actually are doing. And that's what he refers to as the knowing doing gap. And this gap just seems to get greater as we get older because we get more information, we fill our heads with information. However, we're not taking action on this. One of my mentors, Marie Forleo, she says, insight without action is worthless. You could pump out a million ideas, but without taking action, you won't get the results you're looking for. Now, when you're creating habits, that stick, you've got to make sure that you replace non-productive habits with productive habits. So you want to really look at, like, what am I letting go of and what specifically am I replacing it with? Okay, that's key number one. Replace non-productive habits with productive habits. You also want to focus on one, maybe two habits at a time, but no more. Because if you're trying to change too many things, your mind can't multitask. You aren't capable of multitasking. You can only focus on one thing at a time. I put my one finger up very, very often for clients. So you don't want to work with too many habits or you're going to spread yourself too thin. You pick the one or two habits and stick with them until they actually become a habit. I know you're waiting for something more miraculous, right? You actually have to keep doing this one thing, keep your conscious attention on it until you turn it into a habit. And you want to make it a habit in your neurology so it stays in every single cell of the body and you just start to do things on autopilot. So you want to decide to have a habit, right? Decide your habit, change your non-productive habits into productive habits and focus on one, two at most habits at a time until they stick. You want to choose your habits wisely. There is an exercise that I have my clients do often to really choose their habits in the most intelligent way. Because if you don't choose your habits wisely, you're going to be choosing random things to do, and they may not even impact your bottom line. So if you just take a couple of minutes to really think critically about what is what is the one thing that can potentially impact almost all the other habits, what is the one thing that can potentially impact your bottom line if you did this one thing? What would that be for you? And often people might be looking for a cookie cutter. They're like, give me the recipe, give me the list of habits I need to have. These habits are actually going to be different for each person because every person is different. So some examples of habits might be to go to bed earlier and wake up earlier. Perhaps not use your phone before 8 a.m. to keep your mindset on what you want instead of what's going on in the world. Perhaps it's to create a morning routine. Perhaps it's to exercise daily. Perhaps it's to make phone calls daily or to contact prospects or clients daily. Maybe it's to practice your sales presentation or ask for the sale. Whatever it is that you need to do, it's something that's going to impact your personal bottom line and get you to your goal. So you've got to be really intelligent. And sometimes it might be hidden. It might not be the most obvious thing right up front. So that's why you want to take a few minutes and sit down and really think about this. Now, once you've identified your habit and you're taking action on this one or two habit, you've made an intelligent decision about your habit, you've got to do the do and also address the belief. Because often, if we're avoiding something, there's a belief system behind it. Let's say you're avoiding making calls for your business, you're avoiding holding meetings. And one of the reasons you're avoiding meetings is because you believe that you'll be rejected. And so if you go into these meetings, you believe that that person will reject you, and perhaps that rejection will mean that you're not worthy. So why would you want to hold that meeting? You got to change the belief. You've got to change that belief that, you know, I show up and these people want to work with me. They are excited to have me in their Zoom room. They're excited to have me across the table. They're excited to connect with me. What I have, people dramatically benefit from. I am absolutely worthy of the success I desire, right? These are new beliefs that you must create and install. So, in any habit you're changing, also look at the beliefs that are underlying those non productive actions and that would support the productive actions. So, this is absolutely key. And I think this is something a lot of people miss. They just do the action, but they forget that belief trumps strategy. Because here's the thing, you have a conscious mind. Those of you that have listened to our videos, you already know this. You have a conscious mind, you have an unconscious mind. The conscious mind is responsible for 2 to 5% of your results. The unconscious mind, the heart, the feelings, your belief system is responsible for 95 to 98% of your results. So as soon as you align your belief system with the habits you're creating, magic is going to happen in your world and in other people's worlds. Okay. So, one of the things that you want to really keep in mind is that you've got to make this commitment, right? When you decide to change a habit, decision cuts off all other options. You're making a committed decision to yourself. And you could be interested in changing a habit, or you could be committed. And when there's interest, then eh, it's it's a it's a partial buy-in. But when you're fully, truly committed, you will accept only results and not excuses. And when you are only focusing on one or two things, no matter what, other things might slip. You won't get all of the habits that you want to change done, but the one or two things that are going to drive your bottom line are happening. You're going to notice everything in your world starts to change, and you'll probably start to hold yourself to higher standards. So, this is absolutely key. So, make sure you decide to change your habits. You change your non productive habits to productive ones, focus on one or two habits at a time, choose those habits wisely, and build the belief system in order to support this. This is what we do with clients each and every day. We just held our Unstoppable You workshop last weekend, and it was phenomenal. Okay. It was absolutely wonderful because we have a section on limiting beliefs. And that was so powerful and profound because participants looked at their beliefs and rewrote them. They wrote them from the negative belief to the positive belief, but not just so they pretended they believed it, so they actually believed it. I taught them how to shift that belief so that it wouldn't just be a conscious thought, it would actually be accepted by every single cell of their body. Because your unconscious mind is smart, it knows when you're lying, and really, you know when you're lying to yourself. So you want to make sure these beliefs that you're rewriting are congruent and in your heart, body, and soul. So we've covered a lot today. I hope this helps. Ultimately, this does boil down to you knowing yourself better than anyone else and taking responsibility in your life. So if you are interested in tuning into the Unstoppable You workshop, this time it's our first time. We've decided to extend the replay. Okay, so we're having a longer replay. And if you missed it and want to tune in, especially on that limiting belief section, then you can still tune in and be able to check out those videos until Sunday, August 14th, I believe, Sunday, August 14th. They will only be available. You can only register by Friday the 12th because we actually want you to do it. We don't want you to register and not do it. We want to support you in your magnificence. And along with the Unstoppable You workshop, you will also be allowed and eligible to have a one-on-one call with me to help you go through your work and get more meaning out of it. So make sure to register for the Unstoppable You workshop if you're interested in tuning in. We've got more good things coming for you this summer. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for joining me. I hope this has really helped you look at how you can pick habits that boost your bottom line and actually stick with them, right? If you're focusing on one, you're going to stick with it. You're going to keep going and going and going and make that committed decision. So you have a beautiful day. I will see you guys again next week. Bye for now.